Alright. How's it going, everybody? I'm sure since, anybody who saw me on Twitter this morning, how hyped I was as soon as this chapter dropped. Like, holy shit. Celine, she's done nothing but keep me hyped. Every single panel she's been on, and every single instance that she's really participated in this arc. Like, Celine has been doing everything that I've required. Like, the only thing that she really has left that will just pretty much make her a wish-granting character for me is to bring over the characters that I have there. Like Jalal. If she pops over Jalal, it's just like Celine is somehow communicating in my head. She's somehow broken the fourth wall and just fulfilling all of my wishes. But what's going on, everybody? How's everyone's Tuesday? Doing pretty good. First chapter of May. And man, May is looking pretty heat already. Like, chapters are coming back this weekend for Shonen Jump. We have, obviously this big hype chapter. I've been having a good time with it. Since this morning, like I said, I opened up the chapter. Some cool stuff, seeing some name techniques. I was happy about that. We found out exactly somewhat about Suzaku's Dragon Sling attribute. The whole sword saint thing of it, I completely left field of what I was expecting. I was expecting something like, something to do with blood. I mean, there's still a possibility maybe it's an attribute, but like the Sword Saint Dragon Slayer is so strange. And it's funny because I was thinking about it, and we know obviously he's above Kyria, but having like an upgraded version of what she has, like an outright better version, just makes that full tier of hers look it's so much more obvious in comparison. Not even like talking about feats, but just from the description of it. It would be like if you had, this guy's a bronze Dragon Slayer and this guy's a gold Dragon Slayer. It's just like you just compare the baseline attributes and it's like, wow, his is way more prestigious. But anyway, what's going on with you guys today? How's everyone going? Gene, how are you today? Bud, read Mashal. Everyone should be reading Mashal. It's good stuff. Phil Jones, how are you? JK Network, how are you doing? Sinbad, Twin Star Exorcist. I gotta get caught up with Twin Star Exorcist at some point. Let's see. What's good? Rax, this is like the best time you could have chosen to stream. I'm gonna watch till the very end. Till the very end, unless that's a show that I have no idea what it is. I was really confused what exactly meant. My power went out during the Josuke stream. Was Josuke streaming earlier? I didn't get a notification for it. If so, I didn't get a notification for Josuke stream at all. Let's go new chapter hype. Yes, the new chapter was super hyped this morning. What's funny is people were talking about, obviously it was Golden Week, and I remember last year I was thinking the same thing of not sure if Golden Week was gonna affect it, but it didn't. And at the same time, I was worried it was gonna affect it this week. And normally I wouldn't mind as much, but this chapter had so much hype behind it, had so much energy behind its existence for me by itself. This chapter filled me with so much energy as soon as I woke up, just to freaking get on and start posting about it, that I required it. It made my Tuesday ever the more powerful. But yeah, anyway, let's really just see what's going on in the chat before we get talking about the chapter itself. What's going on though? Diego Lopez, Dravenov, how are you? Chapter's hype, and I'm annoyed that this is another setup chapter. Well, no, so it's the way that it's going. It's actually the belief that I thought that the fights were going to go. Opening fight aspect with Celine and Suzaku. Then we're going to get into the fights with, Kokune, Mimi, Gray, and Lucy. And then after those fights are over, we're going to get back to Suzaku and Celine. Because that makes sense. You're not going to start with, the biggest hype one and then go to the lesser ones. You're sandwiching it in between the other ones. And, I mean, obviously, the much more attention-grabbing one is Suzaku versus Celine from literally every aspect. But, one, I want to see what exactly Gray does to overcome Hakune. And two, Lucy versus Mimi needs to happen, the rematch. And especially because I really require Mimi information. I want to know what exactly, the details of her ability are. Is she just really strong? Because if it's just she's really strong, I don't really know what exactly about her is gonna, live up to her position. Because when you look at what Yoko had, you look at what Akune had, Mimi just being really strong is pretty lackluster in comparison. And I mean, like, you just look at their abilities and you see hers as like, what, hers is just like, what, she's buff? I require more than that. Like, maybe if there's like some crazier way it's described and there's some form of description to the ability that makes it more, just like more beefy, more of like a holy shit kind of ability that gives her level of character the position I think she kind of requires. But anyway, yeah, let me get to some more of these comments. Rax has been kidnapped by his evil twin, Raxville. No, I have not. I'm good. I'm not oppressing anybody. I'll make the Ivan vid at some point. Ivan just, like, the thing about his videos, it's more about, like, I'm not really sure what went on with Ivan, but so does Mishima, I think, with every single one of his plot points. Best boy in the series versus best girl in the series. The hype's real. Suzaku already your favorite, man? I mean, like, Celine is already, like, rising to the top for me. Like, obviously, I know that she doesn't have, like, the writing, like, the character development and, like, content behind her that, like, you know, you have, like, Lucy, Wendy, and Urza. But just, like, everything that she does is extremely fun, and I always enjoy it. I mean, anyway, wait, is there no, there's sound going. I usually don't have my mic going through at the start, because I'm just getting out, stuff like the links and sending out the tweets to the stream and whatnot so people can come join. But other than that, it's, other than that, it should be good. Other than that, we should be here, ready to chat, ready to talk about everything that's been going on, and just be hyped about the freaking chapters, man. Like, I'm super stoked for this. I was waiting a little bit, hoping that the translation was going to come out so I can do that and then do the stream. But it didn't come out in time, so I'm getting to the stream anyway. Anyway, let me get some more of the comments. No, it's not a 2-hour silent stream. Like usually when it begins, like, I'm not talking because I'm getting stuff sent out. Would you be mad if Magna and Zora kill Dante? If they killed Dante, it would just feel like such a waste. Because, like, Dante is actually a really interesting bad guy. I'm a huge fan of his whole ideology over, like, evil and wicked emotions being exclusive to humans, so that's why he believes that's, like, the true nature of humans. And in, like, some degrees, he's kind of right, just because, like, inherently humans can be extremely awful. But he hasn't had the development I think can go with it. Like, he doesn't need to have, some, like, crazy thing about him, like, his character progresses and does, like, 180s all over the place. I just really want him to have moments where he, like, maybe, like, evolves his villain beliefs. Like, what exactly about his whole view and mindset is going to progress as, like, his existence in the story really kind of goes. That's what I'm hoping, at least for Dante. Since Suzaku got hit that hard on her, he's definitely up there with Larcade and Human. I would say he's definitely above Larcade. Like, I honestly think he's around level, like, within visual sight of Irene and August. I want to believe that he's not at their level and Georg is, but we'll see. The information behind them is extremely intriguing. The whole stuff, if you've seen the spoilers, it's like his power comes from the dragon he ate, which is really cool. I figured that the way that the dragon eaters were going to work was like, they have a magic, they eat dragon meat, whatever magic they have turns into that kind of dragon slaying magic. Like, say, let me just think of somebody off the top of my head. Say you have somebody like Jura. Like, Jura in his whole set with, like, rock, hardening rock, and using earth magic. Say he ate dragon meat, he would become an earth dragon slayer. But it seems more like whatever the dragon you consume connects to it. So I'd be wondering if that's a fast pass to get dual type elements, or how exactly would that be? Or is it maybe if they, like, merge? I don't really know. Like, if you ate two different kinds of dragon slayer or dragon meats, would you get two types? Is the sound going through? Because, like, I don't know, like, how far back some of these comments were. It shows it's going through in my Streamlabs, so I'm not 100%. And I don't want to open up on the actual stream, because if I turn the volume on, it's going to double echo through. Actually, to do it for 5 seconds won't be a problem. There we go. There's going to be a random part if someone's listening where they can just hear me yelling. But anyway, let me get to some of the more of these comments. The English version out yet? Not yet. I've been waiting on it. Yeah, whenever they get to it, you know, they're taking their time. They're getting everything all buffed and looking pretty. I won't rush them. I'm just hoping it's out tonight, just because if it's out tomorrow, then I'm going to have to wait all the way until I get back from work to do it. I mean, the only benefit, or the only, like, way that it's not that bad of a case is there's no Eden Zero and there's no Four Nights the Apocalypse this week, so I don't have to worry about any of those carrying over. And it's just on occasion, like, when you have Four Nights the Apocalypse translations, they will kind of just, like, dip into it, and then I don't end up getting the chapters out when I want them to. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just tired of the bi-week schedule. Listen, if they're able to keep up every chapter pretty much being a banger, like, I'm fine with it. I'm impatient, so, you know, I'm sure you can understand of my lack of wanting to wait, but at the same time, outside of the chapters where it's, like, the intermission stuff, we're getting in between arcs when they're doing, like, maybe some borderline slice-of-life stuff, we're getting maybe more fun, character-driven parts, then I don't really mind. Like, this is a chapter that is worth the 2-week wait. Like, last chapter 2, like, we got Suzaku, we got the interactions with him, and then, like, you know, he's out here, like, cutting down Natsu and Urza, and here he is now fighting with Celine. He got a cut on her, and I had to make sure when I did my post this morning that I showed him damaged by Celine's attack, because, like, I'm not gonna put, like, oh, he damaged Celine without the fact that Celine did way more damage to him. Like, Celine's attack did some... He's not in, like, dire situations, but he is, in fact, hurt. He took damage from it. So, I'm pretty hyped over his display. Granted, I'm guessing he's putting way more effort in with Celine. Like, Celine seems way more casual at the beginning of the fight. He pulls out his sword, like, goes for a slash. She just jumps over it. Like, she has zero problem with that. It's more of just, like, at some point when he uses a name technique, he's able to get a slash on her. But like I said, she wasn't fighting that seriously at that point in time, so I don't really see it as, like, the same thing as, like, oh, he's able to fight like a serious Celine. Like, we don't really know that until we get back to the fight. But I think when we get back to the fight, after the stuff with Lucy, Gray, Hakuni, Mimi, like Suzaku's probably going to be in a spot where he's like, I might have to retreat. He's probably going to be beaten the hell up. I don't know if they're going to try and turn him into yokai or what, but I don't see him handling a serious Celine, especially, like, when her opening move of fighting seriously is pulling the moon down. Like, that's the first move she does, is she's like, well, I guess I'm going to pull the moon out of the sky, and just drags it right on down. So, like, big numbers on this. Like, she's flexing hard. Let's see, you care about Mimi-kun, I just want to... Well, I mean, those are important, though. The Hakune one is extremely intriguing, because Hakune's got a really interesting spiritual art. It's super broken, and I want to see exactly what Gray does to get around that, and exactly how Gray's transcended magic is going to deal with that in general. Like, his is going to be one of the more interesting ones. Because Lucy, I can see Lucy just overpowering Mimi, having just more spells, well, I mean, Mimi doesn't have spells, she's using spiritual arts, she's using techniques, but you know what I mean, if she's able to pull out the Celestial Spirit King, or what exactly she does, I can see way clearer than what Gray can do. Gray has more of an obstacle he has to overcome than what Mimi has, than what Lucy has with Mimi, but, like I said, we'll see exactly how that goes. Like, it's a mystery on exactly, like, what he's going to do. Like, we don't know exactly if she's going to, if he's going to end up pulling out some crazy new hacks, or if he's going to just end up being, like, so much more fast and more powerful than her that he's able to beat her ice. I don't really know. Will Gray be able to, like, freeze her ice, like, freeze her technique or something? Like, his is going to be weird, and that's why I'm very intrigued with his physical strength. Where do you think, in physical strength, where do you rank Urza amongst the guild? I mean, physical strength, I don't think Urza is that, like, crazy up, because you still have Natsu, Guild Arts, Laxus, Godchill, probably somewhere around with Gray, I can see her sitting at, like, somewhere around, like, maybe, like, top 6, 7 or so, because, like, Godchill versus Urza, I can see Urza winning currently, just because, like, Godchill hasn't got anything new and fancy in a long time, and Urza has both the 2 elemental swords as well, like, with their whole Dragon Fire and Demon Eye swords, and then she also has Nakagami, which out, like, that really is going to screw over anything Godzilla does, because Godzilla's intangibility is going to get completely fucked over if she can just cancel it out. But I do think that he has more physical strength in her. I think that he has more weight than he's able to, just put into his physical attacks than she's able to deal with. Or, sorry, that she's able to dish out. I'm sure she can deal with it just fine. Oh, Kenmano, thank you for the $50 super chat. Wait, let me have the audio go by. Arax, here's my question. If Fairy Tail knows someone who is willing to let people die, example, if a murderer is on the loose and Fairy Tail is too far away to help someone who can help, but he purposely lets the murderer kill whoever they want. Wait, what? I mean, they're not, unless they're already invested in whatever it is, they're not going to do anything. Like, they could hear about somebody doing something from far off, but if it's just like, there's a killer on the loose in some town, unless they have a quest or there's some personal reason that they're going to go over there and try and deal with it, I don't really think that they're going to really go out and, like I said, deal with it. Because there's crime and problems all over the place, but they mostly stick to their own personal stuff and their own quests. If they get put on a quest to go after this guy, or say that like they think this guy's a problem, and it comes to their attention enough that they think that they should do something, sure. But I don't think they're going to just go out of their way the second they see something. If they're in the town, though, say, like, if Fairy Tail is in the town, like, relatively anybody in the guild, they're in the vicinity of where it's happening, they'll probably help out since, they're adjacent to it. I think then they would put their effort in, but I don't think that they would just be like, oh yeah, there's a murderer somewhere out, town, cities, or country over, let's just go over there and deal with it. I don't think that they are going to just casually roll like that, just because they've got their own stuff they've got to do. And they are, I mean, to a degree, that they're still a business, so they have to keep their activities to a point of work in the guild. If something's not assigned to them, I don't think they're going to go that far out of their way unless it connects to them personally, or something about it, like, kind of connects to them personally. Like, if there's something that catches one of their interests, sure, but outside of that, I don't really know. See, Celine's already a better character than Alderaan by a mile. I mean, Celine is designed to be more like a... Like, we're getting way more in-depth of Celine, and we're getting way more of Celine. Alderaan was like a twist at the end, and I mean, he was cool, but obviously, like, Celine, Mashima's building Celine to be more of a, like, way more of a, content-driven character. Alderaan did what his purpose was. But I mean, obviously, like, I'm gonna say, like, Celine's better. I mean, it's not even really up to debate. Since Suak got the hit on her, he's definitely up. Oh, yeah, I already read this one. Let's see. Raxa being racist dragons. I'm nice to dragons. What do you mean? Acnologia was the dragon racist. Just started watching Naruto earlier this week, currently on the Sasuke recovery arc. Oh, you just started Naruto? That's a really good arc. The whole my favorite parts of that arc, definitely the stuff when it comes to when it comes to some of the fights, like the stuff with the like this, what are they called? The sound. No. I'm trying to remember what that bad guy group is called, because I was gonna say the Sound 4, but I think that's the group that was in the Chunin exams. It's been a long time since I've gone through the Sasuke retrieval arc. But you know what I mean? Like, those guys that they're up against, like, all the... I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything for you. I'm worried. But all I'm going to say is those guys were cool. Anyway, can't wait for Celine, till Celine transforms. If Celine transforms, I don't really know what Suzaku's going to do. Like, during the chapter, let me look real quick. Because we see at the very end, Celine has her dragon eye. But she doesn't really have it at the start. She just has her normal eyes. But at the very end, we see her have that kind of slit dragon eye. I want to know what her technique is. Like, I've got my fingers crossed that before we get to the fights with, like, these other ones, we at least see what Celine is going to do with that attack. Like, I imagine this. This is just headcanon. Like, the next chapter opens up, and maybe Celine has, like... I'm trying to think of, like, almost like a Death Star kind of style of... She's just shooting all of these giant moon blasts down at the surface of Elantir, all around here. Just like this endless barrage. Think of when Super Boo used, what was that attack called? It was like Genocide Ray or whatever, Genocide Burst, where he just lifted his hand up and it was just this insane amount of blasts that shot all around the planet and killed all of these humans. Imagine something like that, but it's shooting from the moon. And it's just this endless artillery of dragon moon magic that is just bombarding Suzaku. That's what I want. I want to see something like that, and then maybe we get over to the other fights where it leaves off like Suzaku's in a spot having to deal with this. Like, I'm super hyped for that. Just because the chapter ended with her eye, it makes me think that Mishima is going to, Mishima's going to show a little bit more of that before the next part. Also, I don't know if I said it afterwards, but yeah, thank you for the $50, Kanmano. Always appreciated. Leopold wouldn't have been taken out by Suzaku boy. I'm like, that's Leo would be dead. Or you put the entire Vermilion family up against him. Suzaku is cutting all of them down before they even blink. They're gonna be dead. Let me see. Can't wait for Naruto to get with Hinata after the start. You're gonna be waiting a while, my guy. It's in English. It's the chapter isn't translated in English. I just took the Japanese panel and then I just edited the part out and put in what the attack's name is in English. Her attacks are like, it's like Moonlit Flame and then like Moonlit Butterfly or something, or Moonlight Butterfly. It looks really sick though. I liked that her attacks combo. I thought that was really cool of hers. That she's got this one attack, you mess with it, she can just turn it to a different attack. I thought that was really neat, and it showed off a lot about her level of manipulation of her own attribute. It really gave some strong insight on just, again, her level of control over it. Because she is, like, a god of that class. Like, she is the moon dragon god. So she should, like, have the highest level of control over that attribute. So it would be like if Ignia roared and then, like, mid-movement, like, he just took the roar and turned it to a different attack. He just moved his hand and turned it into something else. That's kind of like how I would envision, the other people of their caliber doing things. Let me see. So it's actually funny. You can kind of, like, she already has, technically, like, she already has more attacks than what Alderaan had. So, named attacks, Alderaan really had Thicket of Arms. But you can kind of count all of the God Seeds because they're part of him. It's kind of like a technical one. They're sort of different. Like, they're sort of their own characters, but not really. Because they're straight connected to Alderaan, his body, and his being. It's really weird. It's kind of like Pain's Paths. Like, they're technically their own thing, but at the same time, they really aren't. Let's see. Serious question. How do you forget about a series when it disturbs us? Wait, what are you talking about? What series are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean. I heard the English translator of the manga is having personal issues. For what? My Hero? I don't really know. As far as I know, I didn't hear anything bad about what's going on with the translation group, like the fan translation group for 100 Years Quest. If you could have a sweet power from Candy Flurry, what would you want personally? I'd go with Fireball's ability. Rain down massive fireballs like Madara meters. If I got a candy to summon? Dude, actually, let me think. I was gonna say Pop Rocks, but I don't really know what you would do with Pop Rocks. Let me think of like a really cool candy that I would like. Oh, what if it was like, well, what is it, like Fun Dip? And then, like, I wonder if you could have, like, almost be like a Fun Dip intangible, where you're essentially, like, it would be kind of like a crocodile, but instead of sand, you're Fun Dip. That'd actually be kind of cool. That'd be really weird. Could you imagine if somebody tried to suffocate you in Fun Dip? It'd be like quicksand. It's really weird to think about. Like, that's what I liked about the second chapter of Candy Flurry. That one dude who had the macarons, because it's like, could you imagine getting killed with candy? It's one of those things where it would be really odd, but it's entirely possible. Like, you can have, like, if somebody took, like, a mass of gum and put it over your head, somehow got it over your head, you could suffocate and die. I mean, it's still something that can kill you. Makes you wonder, did Acnologia eat so many dragons so he could eat all types of magic? I don't think so. Like, Acnologia didn't eat any dragons, we never saw him do it. It'd be very strange if so, because one thing that has been established about the 5th generation Dragon Slayers is they don't get motion sickness. So if, say, Acnologia was eating them, then I would wonder why he, would suffer from motion sickness at all. It would be a really strange thing to have exist as one of the aspects of them and not apply to Acnologia. So Brax saw that Mission Years Ago family video, good shit. Also, theories do you have a next chapter? Oh, thanks. I was really worried because I was thinking about how I wanted to do it because I've done a couple of videos before on like talking about series that I was gonna start. Unfortunately, some of them I didn't hold up on, but I wish I did. Like, was it the Ariadne manga? I actually caught up with that recently. I'm a chunk behind again, but with Mission Years Core, I didn't want to spoil anything, so I figured it actually works better just for me to talk about, my take on it. Because at the start, I was kind of like, on the series. I didn't think it was bad, but it wasn't for me. And after that first chunk, when I got past of what I would consider, what is like the axe line, and then when it kind of got into a serious plot, and it didn't feel like it was potentially a gag series, I actually enjoyed it. And then, like, the only other thing, as I mentioned in the video, was the oldest brother. He really bothered me for the first chunk of the series. But I figured I would just kind of like share my takes on it, my thoughts, and then kind of just go over that. The next chapter, though, I kind of want to see something new from Taiyo. I'm wondering if he could show like maybe like a new technique, maybe like a new move with his blooming. Like if he's got anything, that he's just kind of developed, because like we know that he got his blooming. He's got more aspects about his abilities, and he essentially came out of a mini training arc. So I'm kind of hoping he's going to drop something new soon. Like I'm just imagining him say like let me think. Like say he ended up using his hardening power and then became somehow like a lightning rod, and then because of his hardening ability he was able to withstand the attack and just kind of like press onward. Something like that I could see. I think that would be pretty hype. I'm not 100% sure at the moment, just because like right now it has a lot of potential, but I'm wondering what exactly his moveset is really going to amount to, just because of the fact that the power system is strange. It has a lot of possibilities, but it hasn't been... we haven't seen the full extent of it, so we don't really know what some of the characters' potential can amount to, kind of. It's a little weird one. Both Eden Zero and Fairy Tail are entering their hype fights next chapter. The Shura versus Shiki fight is definitely hype, but I mean, like, compared to the Celine and Suzaku fight, like, this one is crazy, because we know that with both of them, it's not going to be the last one. I think it's just going to essentially be round one, but I mean, the Shiki one's going to be cool, because I think it's going to be more about like them just getting a taste of each other's characters and then establishing what it's going to be like later down the lines of this arc. But man, the Suzaku versus Celine one, That has me so hyped, man. I am so into this whole battle right now and what goes on between these two characters. Like, Mishima has been going absolutely insane with some of these fights and some of these setups. Whatever he does with them, I am patient, but I am hyped. I am ready to see where this goes. I am ready to see what exactly he does with this battle and what exactly he gives us for for essentially this clash. Like, what is the full extent of what Celine is going to give us? What is Celine going to the extent of her flex essentially in this battle? Where is that going to lead to? Because I don't think we're gonna get everything from her, but I can really see I can really see just her busting out like a ton of really cool moves, because we're not gonna get the main fight for a while, but this is gonna be like the big taste of that battle. This is gonna be like us understanding the first parts of Celine before we actually get to the the final battle with Celine. Once we get to like the full extent of Celine, I think that is going to be the that's going to be when we really see how insane she is and how much flex she can really present towards everybody. Like, Celine, I can't wait. I legitimately cannot wait to see where Mishima takes this arc and where exactly it all goes to. Let's see. I want my man Xenon to survive. I'm okay with Dante dying. I don't want Dante to die. Xenon's cool, but like if I got to pick between any of the three of them to live on, I'm gonna pick Dante. I mean, they're all cool. They're all interesting, but Dante has the more unique character trait that I very much like. And it's funny because he has like the exact opposite outlook that Margear has, and I really like Margear too, so it's fun. Union Oss versus Overdrive Shiki. Oh, I mean, Union Oss is gonna win. I mean, Shiki doesn't have a whole lot yet. I mentioned that before. Once we get Shiki's like Black Sky ability, I think that's gonna be more. I think that's gonna be more for the hype of whatever Shiki can do. Essentially, like Shiki's already like he's already pressing up. He's got a lot of weight coming his way, and he has the potential to really get some crazy hacks. Just knowing Mishima, but. Until that happens, we're just gonna be waiting. We're gonna be waiting to see what exactly he's gonna be doing and what exactly this technique does. I mean, he learns from Xenolith, so like it's gonna be broken. It's gonna be real powerful. Both Inzero and Shaman King are my favorite anime this season. I haven't watched the Shaman King one yet. So people are telling me that it's moving at a fast pace, but the animation is good, which is rough. But at the same time, I mean that's not the worst thing that you could say. It's like it's just moving fast. I would rather it move fast than it look awful. Because if it looks awful, then people are just going to think that like anime-only people are going to think that it's not good. Whereas, like, if it looks good and they're going to end up liking it, and then they end up reading the manga and they're going to get more of the story, I think they're going to like it more. It's kind of like when I went through Soul Eater, and I liked Soul Eater, and then I went to the manga, and I was like, wow, this is even better. It made me appreciate it a lot more. Gaja Ultimate Magic will clap Sinbad's Lightning Gin. One, we have to figure out what exactly Ultimate Magic Gaja is. I don't know how well you would do against Sinbad's Lightning Gin. Like, I can't remember all of Sinbad's lightning feats. I know he's got, like, that one... the first time he used it, that giant lightning strike he did. I know, like, when he did it in his side story and he, like, obliterated a couple mountains nearby. But outside of that, I don't really know what he's got for it. If they don't make Gray have a power-up, I'm quitting 100. I mean, he's gonna get something. What do you, like, they all have upgraded magics. Gray has just to, like, the other ones have to figure out what exactly it is and how exactly he can use it. Let's see. Can Laxus get a badass Tiger Exceed from Elentier? I mean, I'd be okay with that. I don't know if Mishima's going to give him an Exceed, because so far the only animal companion 2nd gen has gotten was Cobra with Cubelius. But I mean, like, Cubelius ended up turning into a chick, and is now his girlfriend, so... Gray hasn't had any moments in the past few arcs. He's had character moments. He hasn't had any fighting moments. $50 sounds... Oh, yeah. Kimono's always going crazy with the super chats. I always appreciate his contributions. Is any chapter translated? Not yet. Actually, I'll refresh the page and see, just for you. I don't think it is. It's not. Not yet. We're still waiting. Sounds, the Sound Ninja 4. That was it. Oh yeah, was it those guys? The guys that were working for Orochimaru and shit? I couldn't remember if the Sound 4 were the guys of the Sasuke retrieval arc, or if they were the people from the Chunin exam. But I guess now that I think about it, there were only 3 of them in the Chunin exam, so 4 wouldn't make a lot of sense. The 1,000 dragons from the future... No, it was 10,000 dragons versus the Clover and Spade Kingdoms. What are they going to do? 10,000 dragons all just nuking the area that are borderline immune to magic? They can't do anything. That's just setting them up to get fucked. Not very fair. Let's see. What's up, Jared Punch? How are you doing, man? Yeah, the Sasuke retrieval arc is so hype, man. I love that arc. And it has one of my favorite characters in all of Naruto. It's got my boy Kimimaro in there. Dude, he was so cool. It's one of the reasons I think Xenon's freaking sick. It's just like, that bone abilities are just cool by default. It's one of those powers. It's just badass just to have. You don't need to have a whole lot otherwise explained outside of if somebody says, yeah, it's a bone power. And, you know, it's just fucking cool. Baseline is just really damn cool. Let me see something real quick. Oh I'm just looking at something. Hang on a second. What am I doing here? Alright. Let me get back more to the chat and see what you guys are talking about. I'm gonna try really hard to keep caught up with the chat. I'm gonna try really hard to keep caught up with everything and everyone that's going on and what everyone's doing. So, bear with me. Let's see. Oh crap! I accidentally clicked out of my window. There we go. Human extinction attack symbol. Wait, what are you talking about? Are you talking about what happened with the dragons? Yeah, like the Spade and Clover Kingdom couldn't do anything. Like the dragons are borderline immune to magic, and on top of that, like, what are they really gonna do? These guys are gonna be from the air, 10,000 dragons just dropping giant nukes. Like, even like Mother Glare, like, who was a dragon of no known significance, just completely nuked a mountainside without even charging a roar at all. It was just open mouth roar. Mountainside gone. Like, mountain range, rather. Not just like a chunk of a mountain. Like, that whole piece, gone. Are you talking about the death battle? Man, that was... I knew that death battle was going to be one-sided. Like, it was so unfair. Like, Mikasa, you could give characters that are her level, but if you take a character who has some good feats, like, she's got some superhuman, showings, 100%, but, I mean, like, the fastest thing, just baseline, just talk about speed, you have in Attack on Titan is, like, them reacting and messing with bullets, whereas with like, Ruby, like, it was at Volume 3, they had people dodging lightning. And then just, like, people getting hit by mechs and shrugging it off. Like, it wasn't fair. It was very obvious not fair. They did it just for clicks. And I'm not a fan of Mikasa. Like, I am not a fan of Mikasa's character. But I thought that was dumb to kind of put her in a one-sided match like that just so she could lose, just so they can get easy views. Like, why wouldn't they get a character that's, more of the level with Mikasa if they wanted to use Mikasa? Or if somebody actually on level with Blake, if they wanted to use Blake. Who was the character they used last time with Yang? Was it Tifa? Like, and then was it the Persona chick with Wise? Like, you're taking characters who obviously would have no problem dominating Mikasa, but you put a character on the same team that's on the same group as these other two characters and expecting them to do anything, like expecting Mikasa to do anything. It was dumb. It was really unfair. I hate it when they do matches that, like, anybody who actually spends 5 minutes to look at, like, the feats and whatnot of these characters can say, why are you doing that? It would be like putting Deku against Saitama. Cool, they're both superhero-esque characters. They both have super strength, but really, that wouldn't be fair at all. You really just look at stuff they've done and you'd say, like, wow, this is one-sided. It'd be like one that I saw recently, but it was more accurate. It was, for those who have watched Invincible and The Boys, like putting Homelander against Omni-Man. I mean, yeah, like, Homelander's strong in his own verse. If you put him against Omni-Man, Omni-Man rips him in half. Let's see. How long will it take me to have to wait 10 episodes? You're going to be waiting, man. Magnus Magic must have some weakness aside from but it can simply miss. All Dante has to do is break the chain and Magnus is screwed. I'm starting to wonder if it's maybe like... It would really depend on the description of it, because I don't think it really needs to have like a big weakness, because unlike Union Mode for Asta, like Asta has a really good moveset. He's got Ki and all these things that actually would be like... It makes sense of why he needs to have a drawback. Magna doesn't really need to have a drawback, because in a realistic case, if Dante took Magna even remotely seriously enough just to not stand there and let him get hit by attacks, he's not going to hit him. Magna, in reality, is way slower than a serious Dante. But Dante decided to let him throw attacks at him. It would be like if Yami decided to stand there and say, alright, Langris, I don't know what you can do, just hit me with something. And then Langris just spatially cuts him in half. It's like, in a realistic setup, Yami, like in a fight, Yami would body him. But if you stand there and let a Hex guy hit you with their Hex, you're gonna get the brunt of whatever the Hex does. That's why it's called Hex. It's an unfair ability. Suzaku's just a Demon Slayer character, even in his fighting style. I mean, he's a swordsman. I don't think Demon Slayer invented swords. If Natsu's down, if Natsu's down like how Wraith goes, so how do you think he will see? I don't know if he's gonna go to Beta Heaven. The difference with Beta Heaven is he had his soul literally ripped out of his body, and he was essentially in a limbo state between being alive and being dead. That was the difference between the two of them. Because when it came to just him being there, like when he was just around, it would be like if any time he gets beaten up by somebody that he would end up I'm trying to use words here, that he would go to Beta Heaven, which we know is not the case. Let's see what happened to the Eden Zero episodes. I mean, episode 4 came out. Do you mean the chapter? There's no chapter this week. Weekly chapters are off because it's Golden Week. Fairy Tail is out because it's a bi-weekly series. Since August can copy magic, how does he fare against the God Seeds? The thing about the God Seeds that I'm not 100% on is, like, would he be able to because they're dragon abilities, but they can still use magic? I think it would come down to that question, but otherwise, yeah, he copies them and he's going to beat them. I don't think that any of the God Seeds individually are stronger than August, except for the Alderaan one. The Alderaan one, yeah. But, like, Metro, Doom, Wolfen, Gears, they're not going to beat August. August is a very rare exception of a human within the world. There's not going to be a lot of people like August. Leave the Bogan here stands to make everything worse. What did they do? Candy Power Hot Chocolate? Actually, Hot Chocolate would actually be really like, no shit, Hot Chocolate would be dangerous. You would have essentially boiling water. Like, it doesn't have to even be like some weird candy variation. You have boiling water. You just burn the shit out of somebody. Like, it's gonna be dangerous. You're gonna have a aggressive time, like, for real. Let's see. You're reading the manga by the... I haven't read the series yet by the Chainsaw Man dude's assistant. I haven't read Fujimoto's assistant's work yet. I don't know where I can read it, because I haven't seen it on any of the official sites. I haven't seen it anywhere that I can officially read it, so I wasn't too sure exactly where to read it, really. Candy Flurry is legit the most unique manga in Shonen Jump. It's very interesting. I really like the premise and the powers. I don't want popping candy, to be honest, or jawbreaker. Popping candy, you mean like Pop Rocks? And Team 7 and Team 8 arrived in Earthland. How would they befriend... Wait, how would each befriend be close to? I mean, I think they would really just get along with most of the cast. I feel like they would all be pretty cool with each other. Pop Rocks would probably make more explosions. I mean, I feel like... Would they explode? Like, even when you put on Pop Rocks on stuff, I don't think they explode. It's just that weird fizz. I would have to look at, like, what exactly a large-scale mass of Pop Rocks really does to something. Like, that's the question I would really have in that matter. Like, would it... What, like... I don't really know. Like, would it actually explode? Would it erode? Or would it, like, how exactly would it work? Using different forms of candy from around the world to fight is actually a great idea for a power system. Yeah, I mean, you could do a lot of fun stuff with it. Kite Awaken form coming soon. I mean, I don't really know what else you would have. Like, what does Zoan Awaken even do? Kaido is not looking good, like, to be perfectly honest. From an unbiased, like, obviously I'm not, like, a One Piece fan, but, like, just talking in general from outside perspective, he's not looking good. Like, Luffy is matching him in base, and I know Luffy has his new, like, advanced level of Conqueror's Haki, but Kaido is getting matched by him in base. It's not like 4th gear and that, or it's like Kaido is in base. Kaido is getting bopped around by Luffy. I don't understand it. He's supposed to be a big deal. Like, he hasn't done anything so far that actually makes me really think he's that impressive since he beat Luffy at the start of the arc. We all need a Lucy in our lives. Yeah, Lucy's good stuff. Kaido is serious at this point, and that's assuming he has an awakened form. I mean, I assume he has Awakening. I mean, it's not guaranteed. Like, it doesn't seem like Awakening is a power level thing. It seems Awakening is more of some like type of technique based kind of setup in One Piece. But I don't really know what his Awakening would do that would even make it better. Like, what exactly is he gonna have that would benefit him in this fight? He's getting bashed right now. He's getting smacked around by Luffy. I don't really know, though. I mean, he could easily pull something out and it could be impressive. But at the moment, I don't really know what that could be. Kaguya-sama OVAs? I haven't watched Kaguya-sama. I don't mess around with a lot of like the more kind of just comedic ones. I like stuff that like it goes somewhere with like a plot, and I mean from the standpoint where I can theorize and really think about like upcoming parts. I don't read a lot of kind of like slice of life, comedic ones. Sometimes I'll read them. Like Kaguya is one that I might read at some point. But you know what I mean? It's one of the things about like battle manga and like large scale adventure and stuff I do really like is there's a lot of theory crafting. When there's a lot to think about and there's a lot just to kind of like wrap your head around upcoming events and like trying to figure out like where the story's going and where characters are going to go and whatnot. Like that's what I get really hyped for. And like that's one of the things I really like about like Fairy Tail, like Clover and stuff. I know that's one of the things that obviously people really like about Black Clover too. Like you look at all the crazy theory videos that go over the place. Rebecca's not even really anything like Lucy Schloplock. Shut up. Like I get the joke, haha, but I mean like they don't really have a lot of similar personality. Like we get so much different attributes from both of them early on. It's just beating a dead horse that's been debunked like 30 million times. Since it looks like MASH beat Margaret sound form last chapter, I'm hoping we get Lance pop off and show off his gravity magic. I don't know if he's beat him yet. I would assume we're going to get another chapter or two of the fight. I don't think anyone of the Trident is going to die this arc. As long as Dante doesn't die, man. I like Dante. I want to see where his character goes. I really don't want Dante to get killed off and his character just amount to a guy who talks shit a lot and then got beaten up. Like, I'm really hoping that he can get some serious fights, man. I need Tabata to give me some more content for my dude. For my guy Dante. Just give him some character development. I'm really hoping that after this fight that he can look at what exactly is going on with Magna and learn, yeah, maybe I should fight a little smarter and not let people hit me with shit. Because like with Magna was something that I've already discussed like a bunch of what happens when you have a character who's so overconfident on their like regeneration and whatnot, on just high speed regeneration. You can easily get caught up in some hacks, and then what? You get clapped. Because you're going to get caught in a hacks, and then some guy who's got a tricky move is going to do exactly what tricky moves do. And then what are you going to do? Nothing. Let's see. Shiki versus Shura is less one-sided than Selene versus Suzaku. I mean, yeah, Shiki versus Shura is going to be a fight where it's actually like they're relatively on level with each other, where the fight with the fight with Selene and Suzaku is like Suzaku is challenging somebody a lot higher level than he is, like somebody an aggressively higher level than he is. I'm so mashed. Oh wait, it's not there. I got a Reddit mobile notification. Who's Obito? Is he an Orochimaru disciple? Oh, I don't want to spoil that for you, man. Don't look at spoilers. I don't think anyone of the. Oh, I read this one. Let's see. What's this all about? Oh, what do you mean? We're just talking about I'm talking about stuff from the Fairy Tail chapter, but also just stream in general. I mean, you can just say whatever you want. I'm gonna probably respond to it at some point. One second, I'm looking at something real quick. Let me see. Replace Urza with Yami in the Kagura and Merva fight, the GMD, how does he do? I mean, against them, like, current Yami? I mean, he'll do fine against Kagura. It's Minerva I would wonder about, because, like, Minerva can literally just teleport him right in front of his own Dimension Slash and kill him. Minerva is the problem for him, to be perfectly honest. Like, she's a trouble thing. She is a problematic character. Let me see. Xenon Redemption arc. I don't really know if Xenon's gonna get anything. That's the thing about Xenon. Like, Tabata has no, he's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he's a cool dude. But Tabata hasn't, like, set him up like he's gonna have a whole lot to him outside of kind of just being really cool. And I'm hoping he ends up getting more to his character. Like, I like him. Like I said, I want to see more of Xenon. Out of the magics of the group, like, he's probably got the coolest set. Like, in concept, you know, he's got spatial and bone, so he's able just to do some really sick assassin-type moves. But when it comes to the content of his character, he hasn't had anything that crazy yet. So, we'll see. I've got my hopes on all three of them. Like, I like them. If any of them are going to go down first, I would probably say Vonica, to be perfectly honest. Because, like, Xenon has stuff with Yuno. Dante seems to have more of a larger scale set of character existence. But Vonica, I feel like with Vonica having the stuff of being directly set of killing Noelle's Noelle's mom, you know, and Nozelle's there as well, that she'll go down first. Because I know that, you know, Dante had you know, position partaking in the death of Yuno's dad, but Yuno doesn't seem to have a whole lot of stakes in that matter. Like, Yuno just seems to like acknowledge it. I'm sure, like, if he got the kill, he might, you know, have something to say about his dad, maybe something respectful, really cool to say. But I don't really see him having as much of a kind of like hasty want to kill Xenon as what Noelle and Nozelle would have against Vonica. But that's just my take. I could easily be wrong on that. It depends on Tabata. But if I had to say one of them goes first, it's probably going to be Vonica. Let's see. Can't wait to Xenon to take down Lucifera. That's not going to happen. Let me see. Yami's climbing both of them. No, Minerva is this problem. Because Minerva's tricky. If, say he does a Dimension Slash, and she just swaps places with him, and he just gets hit by his own attack, then he's going to be in a bad spot. She's actually really tricky just to fight in general. If you, like, you need to have some way of really just dealing with Minerva's territory magic. It's hard. Like, she actually like, her magic is so solid in the fact that it has multiple traits while also being spatial. Because she also can affect space in a way that is affecting, like, the mass in it. Because remember, she could make, like, a bubble. And she's essentially changing the property of the space in that to, like, be heavier or to you know, to have a higher temperature to it. Like, she's got a high level of skill and a high level of potential. Like, we just don't have, we don't have nearly as much from her as, like, say we have with Yami. Like, Yami's obviously got way more fighting set up in the series, but Minerva's, I'd say, is more of a, it has more utility of a magic, and it has a setup where literally she can just kill Yami at the start. Yami Dimension Slash or just Death Thrust, swaps places. She doesn't seem to have she doesn't need to have any body movement in order to do it either. She doesn't have to do any, like, hand symbols or anything crazy. She just seems to have to want to do it. And she can spatially block stuff, so outside of Dimension Slash, like, she should be able to deal with a lot of what Yami can do. Like, that's an interesting setup, to be perfectly honest, just from the movesets of the characters. And I know it's a little hard because the spot we're talking about is all the way back in the Grand Magic games, but all three, Minerva, Urza, and Kaga, are all within Wizard Saint tier. And Captains and Black Clover are where I would say comparable to Wizard Saints. You know, vice versa. I'd say, you know, the Wizard Saints are around the Captain level if you put them in Black Clover, and then, you know, Captains would be around Wizard Saint level. So the power gap is not really that different. It would just come down to, I think, really like a couple moves. Let's see. Brent Sure needs to respectfully extend an invitation to Becky and Queen Homura to join the harem. She wants to get, like, more of the fandom against him. Go ahead. Like, especially Homura. Homura's got some fans, man. Everyone really likes Homura. Like, Homura's just overly enjoyed. Sure, it doesn't need that, the feeling when Homura's over it. Homura's awesome, though. Like, Homura is one of those characters. She's like Yami, where she's like, very overly... The fandom is very overly saturated with content of her, but I think it's deserved. I think when people like really hype up, when people really hype up Homura, I think she deserves it. I think that her level of just people like really kind of hyping her goes like her backstory, her design, her personality, her fighting style. I mean, man, last upgrade she got some freaking sick lightning claws. Like, come on. Speaking of Bones, how do you feel about Bone Collection for X? I liked Bone Collection. The thing about Bone Collection is, like, I liked when it was serious. I wasn't a huge fan of when it would get super gag crazy. Like, the characters are cool. I really liked the main character thing. I thought that was actually really interesting, and that was one of my favorite parts about it. Like, for those who didn't read Bone Collection, essentially, the main character had this ability. It was called the Yokai Spell, and it's like, they intake power from a yokai, and they're able to kind of put it in their own body. Think of like if Mega Man was borrowing powers from the other characters instead. But the main character's thing is, he was shitty at all these other techniques, but it was because his, I'm trying to remember exactly, his, like, vessel that determines, like, their power system, his was empty, but it was huge. It was like essentially having a gigantic empty jar in your body. And so he could intake high levels of power, but he couldn't dispense them by himself. And then the female lead was, she was like this super top tier yokai. So like, like between the two of them, they made a really good combo, and their abilities really worked together in a way that it was like, oh, anytime they developed as like a duo of characters, their power, like his power would increase because he could take more power from her. It actually had a lot of really interesting concepts that I liked a lot. And I liked the main cast. I'm trying to remember the main character's name. I remembered Pyra. I thought she was really cool. I liked her design. The art style, sometimes it'd be a little odd, but overall, I thought it was very interesting. Like, I really wish the series continued. It wasn't as hype for me as, say, like, Golem Hearts or Build King, but it was something that I was pretty bummed out when it got axed. Like, stuff like Guardian of the Witch I also enjoyed, but I liked Bone Collection concept more. But I said, the problem I had with Bone Collection is sometimes it would be a little too silly, and it takes away from, like, the serious side of things and, like, more serious plot aspects when, you know, they break in with something way too comedic. What if Wendy's Dragon Force evolves, took on aspects of Irene's Dragon Force? That'd be pretty sick. I'd be all on board for that. Like, Wendy gets an upgraded version from Irene, or, you know, maybe she's able to modify it with enchants. That'd be actually really cool. Like, say Wendy was able to, like, mess with her feathers to, like, do something, like, to form differently. Like, maybe her feathers form in a different variation and make her go faster, or maybe make them bigger and they, like, absorb ether nano in the air. There's a lot of possibility in that. Concurrent Fairy Tale, Concurrent Fairy Tale with Irene and other dragons to handle the 1,000 dragons? Oh, 100%, yeah. 100%. As far as we know, the 10,000 dragons, I mean, they're still dragons, but none of them were any dragons of significance, so they should be at least, like, you know, baseline dragons. Like, Irene, like, Natsu should be fine. Natsu has taken dragons well above them. He should be one-shotting them, pretty much. He should be just completely cleaving through a lot of them. And then, like, you put Irene in there. Like, Irene is going to eat them. And I don't mean that and literally she's going to eat them. She's going to demolish them so quickly and so fiercely that it's just going to be like, they're going to be like Snack Store. Let's see. Do you think Percival and the other 3 knights will destroy the world to bring forth the apocalypse? I mean, yeah, it's in the whole setup. 100%. Yang wins her death battle. Weiss wins her death battle. Blake wins her death battle. I feel a pattern. No, Blake. Oh, you know, yeah, sorry. Blake won. But I mean, Blake's was obvious. I personally, I don't know anything about Persona. And then, as far as I know, I think most people, as far as I know, most people agreed with the Yang one. I don't really know, like, I don't know a lot of Tifa's feats, so I can't really say. But, it seemed like that one is at least somewhat fair. But, I mean, like, they picked people that are within realm of their capabilities. Whereas, it wasn't fair when it came to, when it came to Blake and Mikasa. Mikasa's strong. Here's the thing. Mikasa is like, let's look at, Marvel. Mikasa's like Daredevil. You have feats and stuff that would put him above, like, superhuman stuff. Crazy and enhanced capabilities. But when you compare it to, say, like, the Human Torch, it's like, sure, like, an idea of them fighting could be cool, but, like, when you look at what they can do, it's like, yeah, I don't really see this going anywhere. Like, what are you gonna do? I'm trying to think of another fight off the top of my head, but, when there's such a gap like that, it just doesn't really seem, like, fair. Like, if you watched Attack on Titan, you saw some of the stuff they could do. You see, like, some stuff deflecting bullets. The second you see people in Ruby close range dodging lightning, it'd be like, oh, wow. The speed gap alone is really heavy. Like, like, Mikasa doesn't have any powers outside of just enhanced physical abilities and like, her reactionary stuff. But I mean, like, having, like, super strength isn't going to mean much when you're fighting somebody with, like, passive force fields, after images, elemental abilities. It's just not very fair. And I thought that was dumb. I don't really like when you have, like, if you were going to do a spite match just to kind of bait, or you were trying to do something fun, sure. Some people will do a spite match just for fun. I can understand that. You want to do a stomp one just for fun, maybe just drawing some people's attention. Go ahead. But I mean, like, if your whole setup is like, yeah, we want to do, like, the coolest fights to see who wins, it's like, well, then, how did you not instantly know who was going to win this one? I felt bad for Mikasa fans, to be perfectly honest. Oh, let's see. Let me get some more of these comments. Also, how far are we? We're in an hour in. This is actually going by, like, a lot smoother. I'm enjoying this stream, to be perfectly honest. I haven't had, like, a really good fluid stream like this in a while. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, usually I enjoy myself when we're out here talking, having fun, going over chapters and whatnot. Especially, like, when we get new Fairy Tail chapters. But, like, everything that went on in this chapter had me super hyped. And then on top of that, like, I don't know. I'm just having a good day. I'm having a good one right now. I think a lot of things are just working well together. Let's see. Man, I think one of the things also is, like, man, I can't wait to post about it. I got a Zara figure coming in. Like, it just shipped. I just got an email about it. I ordered a couple months ago. I can't wait. The next one I'm getting is a Jalal one. I'm hoping to get it within the month. But it might be next month. But it's definitely my next buy. I was going to get this one of Yugi summoning Slifer. And it's like Slifer the Sky Dragon coming out of the card. But, man, it's like, this one was so much cooler. Let me see, actually, something real quick. There was one that I also really wanted, but, like, I thought this one was cooler. I like Slifer. I wish they had more of Uriah, because, like, Slifer is obviously a million times more iconic, but Uriah, being a fiery type dragon instead, always has more of my hype. What's funny is I only just recently remembered they came out with new support for that card, and I wanted to build a deck around it, but it didn't have, like, it was hard to kind of keep alive, but I just noticed that they have support out for it, so I'm gonna try and build a deck around that soon. I'm gonna buy some cards for it. Man, I got some aims. Once I get this card, if I ever get to it, I'm gonna have to show you guys. I'm gonna have to post it on the Twitter or something. I got nerd hypes and hopes and dreams. It's probably, like, the second most hype card I want. The first one is gonna be a ways down the line. Well, the first one that I can just share because I'm not gonna get it for a while. The first card that I really want, that I'm aiming for, I don't see myself getting it anytime soon. is Dark Paladin First Edition, like PSA 10. I think it's like 4,500 to like 7K. Expensive. It's gonna be like maybe a year from now of putting like little chunks on the side so eventually I can buy myself something really cool. But it's gonna be a bit. Either way, that's gonna be something that once it finally happens, I get a nerd goal. I'll make sure to share it. Some hype dreams down the line. Just wait for it. Let me get some more of these comments. Actually, feel what Noelle and Leo's ult magic will be. I'm kind of hoping Leo has, like... It's kind of hard, because, like, we don't have a lot of spells with Leo. I mean, Noelle's just give her, like, a really cool outfit, kind of like what Locke has, but maybe give an upgraded version. Maybe give her, like, a cool sea dragon involved. I mean, there's a lot of easier stuff with Noelle, but with Leo, it's difficult, because Leo only has a couple spells. Tabata has really shafted him when it comes to his moveset. I mean, he has a lot of Spiral Flames, and then he's got Profound Spiral Flames, and he's got his Crimson Eruption, but I'm thinking maybe he has, like, a Summons or something. Maybe he just puts up, like, a really big AoE flame. I don't really know off, like, the top of my head. Like I said, it's a little difficult when it comes to Leopold, just because of the fact that he doesn't have, a whole lot of setup with, like, his moveset. Like, his moveset is really weird because of the fact that we don't have a whole lot for it. It's a little odd, but at the same time, like I said, I'm hyped to see it, but at the same time, I don't really know what exactly Tabata's going to pull out with it. Like, what is he going to give us for Leopold? Because it's clear he's saving something for Leopold. I mean, he definitely... Like, Leopold wasn't forgotten. That was one of the big things I was happy about when it came to the time skip. Like, he's definitely doing stuff with Leopold, but I can't really tell what his plans are, other than that he's got plans. Maybe if he has, like I'm just assuming, like, a Summons or some kind of creature, or maybe he's got a big AoE spell. Like, what if his ultimate magic is, like, a zone? Because one thing that Leo has that is actually still really impressive for Black Clover is he has a really big AoE spell. And there's only a handful of characters that have a bigger AoE than his Crimson Eruption. You have, like, Patri, Julius, Lilith. Who else has a bigger, just straight AoE spell? I'm trying to think. Like, I think that's, at least off the top of my head, that's it, right? Is there anybody else? Can anybody else remember anybody else that has, like, just a bigger, like, straight AoE spell over Leopold? Like, his Crimson Eruption is huge. Again, I can't really recall any. But, like I said, what if his thing is just, like, he just makes, like, say, like, his spell is, like, this 50-foot wide ring, and it's just heat, and he's just pumping out high levels of heat. Maybe something like that I could see. Maybe, you know, something along more of those lines. I'd have to talk to Tabata and see what exactly his schemes and plans are with my boy. Because I got hyped for Leopold. I've been very patient on Leopold. I'm usually not that patient for some of these characters, but Leopold has been sitting on the back burner for a long time, and I'm waiting for him to get his hour. So hopefully Tabata will give it to him. Hopefully Tabata will give us some Leopold spotlight and some Leopold action within this next set of scenes. Speak less and more, make more bread. I actually got to make some bread later tonight, so I will make bread. Do you think Might Guy versus All Might Death Battle? Man, that's like the same thing as the Mikasa versus, like the Mikasa versus Blake one. It's like, when you really compare, like, you look at All Might's got some impressive feats, but when you look at, like, 8 Gates Might Guy, it's like, what exactly were they expecting? What were the All Might fans, like, really thinking? Did any of them actually think that guy had a chance? Like, he had no chance. All Might was gonna get his ass kicked. It was so unfair. Like, when they do matches like that, it's stupid. Like, it makes me wonder if, like, some of the people at Death Battle actually know what they're talking about when it comes to some of these fights. Like, who the hell looks at, gets through Naruto, and then gets caught up with My Hero, and looks at All Might and Might Guy. Not just Might, like, regular Might Guy, sure. But when they get to 8 gates unlocked Might Guy, who charged right into Madara, and whose kick was bending space, it's like, what exactly do you think that... What do you think Guy's gonna do? What do you think he's gonna do? Or sorry, All Might. Like, what do you think All Might is really gonna do in this fight? I don't really know what their plan was. And that was just, it was just lame to me. It kind of screwed the dude over. It gave him, like, it shafted him hard. It made his fight, like, it made All Might look lame, like, to a degree. That's one of the things, like, when they do with matches, if they make it so obviously one-sided, it makes the losing guy just look inferior when you're not thinking about the, like, whenever they do their sprite animation, you actually think about what feats they mention. Like, again, you look at All Might's best feats, but then you look, like I said, here's 8 Gates Guy, bending space with raw force, and it's like he can react to guys who fight at light speed, and you do all this shit, and it's like, what are you doing? It's like, it's like when I see people do, like, some of those, like, who would win? And it's like a bunch of fire users, and you have, like, Roy Mustang, Endeavor, Zuko, and Natsu, and it's like, what do you expect them to do to Natsu? Like, what? Not only does he counter all of them ability-wise, but, like, when you compare feats, when you compare what those characters can do, like, Zuko has a regular human body. So does Roy Mustang. Endeavor has, like, enhanced, just an enhanced body, just from, like, some feats, but compared to Natsu, he's like, Fighting Fest... Now, he's not even Fighting Festival arc. Maybe around that, but, I mean, he is early series Natsu in comparison, if you really wanted to look at what he could do. Let me get some of these. I rambled a little bit, so I'm knowing by Natsu vs. Ace is an example of a one-sided fight for clout. That one is so dumb. The thing that, like, people always ignore is they'll be like, oh, well, can Natsu touch Ace? Yes. Natsu can touch fire. Slayers can touch their attribute, even if they're intangible. It being fire doesn't matter. Like, Natsu's been handling fire the whole series. He's grabbed onto fire. He eats it. He chews on it. How do you chew on an element if it's not something within your moveset? I mean, I guess you could chew on ice. You know what I mean, though. Will never be a swordsman. He uses Zephyr as more of a wand. I want him to go back to using a freaking bow. I talked a little bit about Quan about this. It makes me so mad. Like, there's something about the Japanese that screw over bow users. Gray barely uses a bow. Fortnite's the Apocalypse. They're using Pestilence instead of the actual fort, because in a lot of the ones people know are off of War, Famine, Pestilence, Death, but Pestilence is from the mistranslation. It's supposed to be Conquest, War, Famine, Death. And Conquest uses a bow, the rider of the white horse. And it's like, they always screw over the bow users. Yuna stopped using a bow and is using a frickin' sword. And he's also got a halberd. Maybe his next form will have a bow, I don't know. But they're always screwing over bows. Uryu in Bleach, screwed over. Barely get to see him in the whole last portion of Bleach. For some reason, bow users are always getting screwed. Like, I like Gray's moveset. I like that it's very flexible. He can use it in a lot of various ways. But at the same time, I want to see more archery. Gray has such busted potential in using True Ice Kamui, because, not like the suit, but like he copied and adapted to True Ice when he was fighting Invul. So he's shown that he knows how to create True Ice. So, like, what if he had True Ice arrows? He could snipe someone from miles away with an ice that voids durability. It completely goes through durability and just freezes. Like, he'd be so busted. Like, that's like Pete Gray, potentially, if Mishima can do it. Like, I'm hoping so. Like, it's such a dangerous level of potential for Gray, but that level of hacks should be available to Gray at this point. Like, he's already got a lot of dangerous stuff in his moveset. I mean, he can just flash freeze somebody. Like, he can literally just... I mean, if Gray really was in a fight, outside of, like, if he's just in... Unless he's fighting somebody, like someone like Scolion or somebody that can actually deal with, like, his move, he can just Ice Mix Silver, flash freeze him. Flash freeze the shit out of people. It's just... he's got the potential. He just hasn't got like as much as some of these other guys lately. Like I can't wait to see Gray's upgrade, because I feel like he's kind of like Leopold, where Mishima has been keeping whatever his upgrade quiet. He's been waiting on Gray. Gray hasn't gotten a upgraded ability in 100 Years Quest. He's the only one who hasn't gotten a new form or a new trait to his magic. He's the only one that's still waiting. So I just gotta wait. I just gotta wait and see what exactly Mishima has planned. I'm super hyped for that one. Lucy versus Mimi, I do want to see that rematch. I want to see Lucy take the W, but I'm willing to wait for that one. Whereas with Gray, I want to see what Gray's ability is so bad. I want to see what exactly Mishima has him pull out and what exactly Mishima's going to have him do. Man, there's still no fan translation. Damn it, man. I'm trying to be really hard to be patient lately. Patience is my next, that's my thing for May. May is the month of patience for me. Month of discipline. I'm trying really hard to learn to be patient. I'm not a patient guy, but I'm working on it. That's my lowest stat. Actually, 1 second. I need to check something real quick. Before I forget, I want to check the weather. I was going to mow my lawn today, but I got distracted in doing shit, and then it was raining for a while. I think it's supposed to be nice to do it tomorrow, because, like, if there's... Assuming that the chapter doesn't get translated, I mean, I might... Actually, hang on. Let me see. I might do it on Saturday. I think Saturday is supposed to be nice where I'm at. I've been wanting to do more just general kind of... Oh, is it Saturday? It's showing somewhat on Saturday, but it looks like more on Sunday it's supposed to be sunny, so I might wait until Sunday. It'll be like do the chapters and stuff, because it doesn't look like it's gonna be sunny when I get home from work tomorrow. Damn it! Oh well, I'll get it done. I've been trying hard to be more responsible too, do a bit more adulting, but we'll see. Let me get more of some comments. I got roll behind. That's what I talk about. Like it's not that I'm slow at reading as I go on rants. It was Bull and Gray face. Yeah, the S-Death one didn't make sense because, like, Gray should have just been immune to her cold from the start. Gray would have adapted to it. They even had the fact that Gray would be fine in her time stop, but they still had Gray somehow get hurt by it, by her ice, and somehow, like, the time stop did something. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. They didn't do a very good job on that one at all. Gray legitimately should have just been fine. And on top of that, they screwed over Gray power level wise, and they kind of cheated with S-Death. They're like, oh, she did this attack that wasn't an offensive ability at all. It was that giant nuclear winter ability she did, but it was an AoE attack. So it shows that they don't know the difference between a environmental effect and just doing like a straight offensive ability. And I could see if you were gonna try and argue it's still like a level of energy she's outputting, but she never shows a singular level of ability even close to it. And on top of that, it's one of her moves. It's a set technique. Like, if I was like, I could argue for Irene affecting the entire biome around around Mount Zonia, because when she did it, she has a bunch of other feats that align up with her having that level of power and capability. So it makes sense when you look at and say, like, oh, you know, hers is a more of like a power thing. And on top of that, they even talk about like the heat, so it's like it makes more sense than say when S-Death did it. So I don't really know. I don't really know who was sitting behind the chair that day that thought that was going to be that was a logical fight, because it really wasn't. It was really stupid. I thought they did a bad job, and you can tell that nobody at that studio probably knows anything about Fairy Tail. It was like when they did the Natsu vs. Aesir and they called Natsu a magic bounty hunter. It's like, what? Like, he's a wizard for hire. Like, they go through the guild. I mean, it's more of like it's more like an odd job setup anyway, because like you can send the guild and request anything. Like, we've seen some of like the lower quests that's like, help me freaking hang out with children. Like, there was one that kind of went with Wendy on like the whole penalty game after the Grand Magic Games, and like there was a part where we're kind of and Wendy were going to like teach magic and like hang out with like these, I can't remember if they're orphans or just school children, but it was like a non-serious thing. It's kind of like in that episode of Naruto, like right before the the arc with Zabuza where they were retrieving a cat. Like, the missions can be anything. You just have to have the money, you request and send it in. They're gonna determine like how much you're willing to pay and how much how dangerous it is and stuff. But I don't know. I don't really know what their plan was with that. I feel 100 Years Quest should get an anime. I hope so. It's like when they did Android 18 versus Miss Marvel, and Android 18 had got knocked out by the rocks. Yeah, that was stupid. I don't know if it's intentional, but that 100 Years Quest and Eden Zero get hype at the same time. Mishima has done stuff at similar time frames. I remember when we got to Elsie, we're forgetting the first part's Elsie. When we first got it was the Parasite, but it was Elsie quotations. That was the same week we got Scullion. So Mishima had those same skulls, skull-faced opponents introduced in the same week. Like, he's definitely doing stuff in a similar manner. I've been super hyped with all this right now. Let's see. The Shadow the Hedgehog versus Vegeta. Yeah, that was stupid. That was one of the early ones, so I don't really mind. Do you consider the final arc Fairy Tail a war arc? Yeah. I mean, that wasn't the final arc. I mean, it's still going, but it was still a war. It was the war with Alvarez. Like, it was an entire empire invading their country, and they went through other countries just to get there. Like, it was absolutely a war arc. Goddess when to heal Angstrom curse? No, there's no way she could. Anyone reading Dreamland? I read a couple chapters of that, but I didn't get very far. I might get back to it at some point. Kaido's just playing, though. I mean, he's fighting seriously. He's in hybrid form. Like, he's not in base. He's in his hybrid form. He's using advanced Cockers hockey. What's left? Like, if he has Awakening, sure. Like, this is why I'm actually really annoyed with Oda for one specific reason. There's one thing about this arc I legitimately am critical about. The fact he has a Zoan-focused arc. Kaido's whole thing is wanting to build an army of Zoan users. He's got the artificial Zoan fruits and stuff. But Chopper is not relevant. And it doesn't have to be Chopper himself that's relevant. Chopper's Rumble Balls should be relevant. This is what I wanted to happen so bad. He eats the Rumble Balls. We see Monster Point. And then it gets back to Kaido, and Kaido realizes, this is what I need for my army. If Kaido knew that he could feed his subordinates these artificial things that clearly already are like Chopper already knows how to make them, feed it to them, and then they become these crazy monster versions of their Zoan, like. That could be like so good. Imagine Monster Point Kaido. Like, there was so much potential that he could do with that, but I don't really know if Oda's gonna do anything with it. And it's like, he doesn't have to. It's not required for the arc, but it's something that is present in the arc that makes a lot of sense. That it's like, man, I really wish he did that. I really wish he would end up doing that with Kaido, but I don't think he's gonna. Which sucks. I mean, like I said, he's got his own thing, so Oda can do whatever he wants. It's his story. I'm really hoping we get something. Like, even if it's not established through his whole army, if it's just something that Kaido realizes and Kaido takes, and the final battle with Kaido this arc is Monster Point Kaido, man, I'd be super hyped. I think that'd be really cool. I don't like it when there's stuff that, like, is in an arc that makes sense to be used, but it's not. It was like when, one of the things I really liked about the whole thing about Max going to Agil over the year between Alvarez and 100 Years Quest is because, like, why was Max not involved in the fight with Agil? You have a sand user. He doesn't have to be able to, like, Max Stemmer needed to be able to, match Agil. But if he could do just enough to help Urza, like, imagine it's when he used Sand World, and Max at his best is just able to make, like, a freaking 5 or, like, a 10-foot wide, like, area where the sand is not. Like, he's putting everything he could just to make this tiny little non-Sand World bubble. Like, that was what I was like, man, I really wish that he was involved, just because the fact, like, he has that magic, and you have a master of that magic in said arc. And I was so stoked that instead, what had happened was Max wanted to get stronger. He knew about Agil. He went to Alvarez, and he worked over a way to, to convince him to train him. And I thought that was really cool because it was working an interaction in a different direction than what I thought it was going to do. I was very happy about that when Mishima did that. And, like, if we don't get Kaido at least, like, I'm hoping so bad. Just Monster Point Kaido needs to happen. It'll feel so weird if you don't have that as a factor in the arc where this is the top Zoan. This is the top Zoan user the series will probably ever have. I really doubt Oda's ever going to have any Zoan guy above Kaido. Unless there's some secret final boss with the M guy, unless, like, he is a Zoan user for some whatever reason and is... I mean, he logically could be above Kaido. But, I don't know why he would have a Zoan fruit. But unless it was something like that, I don't really see anyone being above Kaido with his Zoan fruit. So, I just don't really know what his plan would be outside of that. I don't know. Rex animation for the chase scene episode 4 of Eden Zero was awesome. I really like the way they're using the animation for Shiki's gravity. Yeah, Shiki's gravity, it's really interesting in just how he moves. It's not that he's using gravity to fly like Dante. He's essentially making himself fall in a different direction. He's making his center point of gravity in a different manner. So instead of, like, if he jumped off a building and he's falling straight down, he changes it so what's straight down for him is a different direction. So he can, like... If he wants to go left, he makes it so falling down for him is to the left. And he can just do that in any direction. I think that's a really cool just trait for Mishima and what Mishima did with Shiki. And why I fully agreed with Mishima that, like, the animation, or, like, Eden Zero would benefit more as an anime than what Fairy Tail and Rave Master would get. Just because of stuff like the visuals of space, like just space travel, so like some of the machines, the way, like, again, Shiki's movement, those were all things that highly benefited just from it being animated and not, boosted up. Like, it still looks good in the manga, but it's obviously way more improved with the more fluid style. Because Natsu and Haru both can, they both have their own way of, like, moving, like, their own kind of movement techniques. Haru's got Silpharion, so he can run really fast. Natsu can move from, like, explosions. But Shiki's whole thing, his is just moving at any direction at any point. So it looks just way cleaner in the anime. Juvia Soul is all Devil Fruit users. If she can get that water lock off, yeah. I mean, that's just a power counter. Natsu really got wrecked because he underestimated Suzaku. Natsu got wrecked because to a degree, but he went in base. If Natsu went in Fire Dry and King mode, I think he would have been fine. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Hang on a second. Okay. I think I'm good. All of Fairy Tail and Alvarez versus Yugi and Jaden. Oh, the Yugi solos. Both Yugi and Jaden solo. They're both so busted. Yu-Gi-Oh! Power levels are actually really ridiculous. I've mentioned that before. Like, Jaden with the Supreme King's ability with super polymerization was, talked about, like, the whole purpose of it was to diffuse the 12 dimensions of the primary universe together. Because in the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe, there are 11 dimensions that parallel to it. So it's essentially 12, because they're all shown to be the same size. So essentially 12 universes that he can fuse. Like, he's ridiculously powerful. And, like, Atem and Yugi, they're the strongest character, essentially, in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! They're chosen by Horikiri. The gods listen to them. Like, he's gone beyond the concept of infinity. Like, they're broken beyond belief. First 4 episode Eden Zero. Wait, what? What do you mean? First F4 episode? I don't know what you mean. I thought the episodes were good. Not so. They're moving fast, though, but I predicted that. I figured it was going to be similar to how, like, Fairy Tail was in the first season, is they're going to try and get a lot of content out in the first one to try and get people hooked. I didn't really see Eden Zero. Like, if they took their time with Eden Zero, I think that would have been a bad idea. I mean that in, like, the story. They have to end the first season in a way that gets you hyped for the second one. Like, with Eden Zero, if they ended at, say, Digitalis, I don't think that would get people hyped for a season 2. Whereas ending with the the Sun Jewel and season 2 going into Belial Goer, I think is a way better idea. Like, if they end up in Digitalis, it's like, cool, they beat a loser like Jamilov and Hacker Spider. Who cares? With Homura and all this stuff in Sunjul, I think it's just going to give for a way more satisfying arc and a way more satisfying ending. Let's see. Natsu always got starts. Fire Dragon King mode and is base, and Lightning Flame aren't doing shit anymore. I mean, Lightning Flame Dragon mode is still useful. What do you mean? Like, Gajil is at level with Lightning Flame Dragon mode. Like, his Iron Shadow Dragon mode we've seen is comparable in level. They're about the same thing. Whereas something like Fire Dragon King mode is obviously, like, upper levels of Spriggan. Like, Gajil's still strong. Like, I'd say, like, Lightning Flame Dragon mode is lower, like, Natsu and base, lower Spriggan. At least in terms of, like, his raw damage output. Like, he's definitely fast enough and whatnot, and he's durable enough. I mean, he took a hit from freaking Mercphobia's Roar and was able to keep fighting. But when you look at, like, some of his base feats, and then you see, like, Lightning Flame Dragon mode, you see, like, where Gajil sits, and Natsu and Gajil were about equal with their hybrid modes. But then he's got Fire Dragon King mode, and then, like, being able to, like, maul people like Jacob and whatnot, whereas like Dragon Force, he's out there fighting with like Godseed Alderaan and Zeref and whatnot, like a much higher tier of outright power and potential. Kaido and Dante are a lot alike. I mean, yeah, they both stand there and let people hit them. The difference though with Kaido, that like it's more baffling with Dante. Because in One Piece, there's not a lot of hacks abilities. There's not a lot of outright hacks. Like, there are a handful of characters that have some good hacks, and then, you have stuff like the Rio Haki can do internal damage, and then you have, like, Future Sight and stuff. But that's more of, like, mastering Haki, which not all, like, a lot of people have Haki in the New World, but not everybody in the New World, that have these more advanced versions of said Hakis. Whereas, like, practically every person in Black Clover of value has at least one hack spell. That's one of the things I really like that Tabata's done. It's similar to like what Mishima has. Like, you're always gonna have a character with like one hacks ability that's like, okay, what is their dangerous move? And it's like, Dante, if you live in the world where most people are gonna have a dangerous spell like that, like this, don't stand there, my guy. Like, I don't. Like, I understand why he's like that. He's obviously very cocky. Like, he's very powerful. He's gauging Magna by his mana amount, which makes sense in the context of the world, sure. But I'm just like, man, you better learn from this. You have to learn from this. Like, this otherwise, like, if he gets out of this fight and gets caught in something like this again, that's an L. I know that people are saying, like, him getting punched by Magna was an L. I don't think so. I don't think getting punched is really, like, a loss. But if he doesn't learn from what just happened, that's a loss. I'm really hoping what happens is, after this fight, Dante's like, I should probably fight a little smarter, learns a bit more fighting technique, actually learns to fight smarter, because we know one of the things, like, that was the gap between him and Yami was just a better fighter. Dante had less skill and less... He was less of a tactical skilled fighter. He was going just kind of crazy and just kind of flailing around doing his thing. I'm hoping he figures that out next. I'm hoping he fights a little smarter. Jameze Samara, I need a compilation of her. She has a really nice voice actress. Stop trying to win in base. The second he saw Suzaku cut Urza like that, he should have went out of base form. Like, in general, sure, like, I can see, like, why he's not going to just instantly want to jump into a higher form, but when he sees somebody take down Urza like that, he should have went. Like, I can understand if he was just being, like, very reactionary, just trying to get in, but at the same time, it's like, man, you got to make quick decisions. And, sometimes it happens, you're gonna get caught sometimes. Like, Natsu isn't perfect. Like, it's a good example of a character who isn't always going to be prepared. Still get caught off guard, regardless of how powerful he is, regardless of like the feats he has. You can still get caught off guard. I remember I was talking to somebody that the other day, and they were trying to act like getting caught off guard doesn't do anything. And it was like, you can get hurt by an attack way weaker from you if you're caught off guard. That's why you say you get like a sucker punch. If you cheap shot somebody and they're not guarding, then, your attack can do more damage than, say, like, if they're standing there ready and braced. I feel like that's just kind of basic, though. It's weird some people don't know that. That's not even, like, an anime thing. That's a real-life thing. That's something that, like, people should know in general. Suzaku is different from Natsu, I guess? What do you mean? Suzaku's extremely stronger than Natsu base. Oh, he's definitely stronger than base Natsu. My question is when we get to people like, when we get to areas like Fire Dragon King mode and Dragon Force Natsu, I don't think, I can see him matching Fire Dragon King mode Natsu. I do not see him matching Dragon Force Natsu. I'm sorry, like, if Natsu goes Dragon Force and Suzaku is still, like, able to, like, really contend with him, I think it'll be weird. Because, like, Fire Dragon King mode is one thing. Like, we've seen where Fire Dragon King mode kind of sits, but Dragon Force is Dragon Force. There's a large gap between those. Large gap between Dragon Force and Fire Dragon King mode. Like, Dragon Force is his all-in. That is his strongest state that he can drop at will. Like, we know that there's stuff above that. If he can ever master that, I'm still calling it Aetherius Dragon Force until we get official name, that we saw against Mercephobia. Yeah, that's outright more powerful. That's like seemingly before someone tries to try and jump him, we don't know for sure his Aetherius form and his Dragon Force, and stacking them together. But outside of it, it's like Dragon Force, and then if you want to count Savage Dragon Fire, but that's more broken hacks than just raw power increase. The difference between Tabata and Hero is Tabata utilizes secondary characters while Hero focuses on the main characters. We've gotten a lot of secondary characters. We literally got a bunch of secondary characters in this last arc. The only thing right now is, like, we're seeing the main cast, but we're moving in other characters into it. Like, we're getting Suzaku is directly, like, involved right now. Like, what do you mean? And, like, we haven't even gotten to a point where we've seen Scullion, Madmol, and Kyria. And on top of, like, what's going on with them, we don't know exactly how they're going to play into the arc. I'm still wondering if Mishima is going to really bring them fully in, because we have reason now of why they can team up with the guild. We know that Suzaku, from his perspective, he thinks and they think that the Fairy Tail Guild is evil and they're an enemy, when really it's a misunderstanding. The second they can kind of get that out of the way, they'll like each other. Suzaku having a lot of care for members of his guild automatically is going to make Urza and Natsu like him. They're just going to have to figure each other out. Like, once they get past that, I think they'll be fine. Especially if, like, at that point, like, Urza's probably going to want to, like, talk to him about his swordsmanship, and then maybe she'll get stronger by training against him. That'd be really cool. Mishima side characters are really good, and he uses them very well. Yeah, I really like when Mishima brings them in. I like both of the way that they handle characters. The only thing right now I'd say is, like, the problem when it comes to both their characters. Mishima, when he gets bored of a character, he'll just kind of throw him away. Whereas Tabata sometimes will progress characters so far beyond other ones that we'll just forget about them. Like, look at, look how Leo was for a long time. Leopold, for a long time, was, like, he felt almost like he just was a wasted character. Like, we didn't really, like, he just was a forgotten dude. It wasn't until this arc that really we had some form of reason to actually get reinvested in Leopold. Before this, Leopold was just Leopold. There was nothing. We started to get something in the anime arc, and then in the in the time skip. But then look at people like Kahono and whatever her brother's name is, Kayato or whatever. What's the point of them? Are they ever going to come back? Or, like, even if they did, what could they possibly do? I don't really see what extent they could bring to the team. It's just like They both have their pros and cons, essentially, is where I'm going to go with that. 7th gate is enough to get All Might killed? Yes. I mean, 6th gate should be fine, too. Let me see. I guess skim pass, because I know that we stepped about All Might. Well, I stepped about All Might a while ago. He can keep up on all speeds. Also, just because I'm at, like, almost 2 hours in, I really appreciate everyone who's here. What number are we at? We got 19. We got 19 likes. I really appreciate it. Well, maybe we can get a couple more. Really appreciate, if you guys could thumbs up the stream, thumbs up the like button, subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And then if you feel like it, it's completely optional. It's not required. If you feel like throwing a super chat my way, maybe giving me $1, maybe $2, anything really, I don't really mind. Any of it is appreciated. But it's not required. It's completely optional, as I said. Let me get some of these comments. Superman 52 star level at very least. Superman, I don't know the full extent of that Superman. I know there's a million versions of Superman. Came up with All Might is like Mach 26. Prime is like 300 times the combat speed. And that's not going to really do anything if Might Guy can react to people moving at light speeds. I mean, like, it's really unfair what they did. Like, when you just get down to looking at the basic areas of where people in Naruto are at that level versus, like, where All Might is at. Rival character uses spear and crossbows. Good. Use unconventional weapons. Well, I mean, like, less utilized weapons. I guess they're still conventional, but, I mean, you know what I mean. When first Black Clover popularity poll came out, Asta came in with 2K votes and was in chapter 100. I was surprised Black Clover didn't get axed before then. I was very happy it didn't. I started Black Clover and it was still very early. It was like around the axe point in Japan when I started. It was like chapter, I'm trying to remember exactly off the top of my head. It was like 15 or 16. It was right when the fight with Lotus was really going on. When they were fighting, when Luck and them were going against Lotus. Asta hadn't gotten his sword yet. The Mars fight hadn't happened yet. I was still just getting into the series, and I didn't even think about it that much at the time of like what exactly is the fate of Black Clover. I didn't really think about it too much. The furthest I can think back of a series that I read that got canceled was Barrage, which was the series that Horikoshi did before My Hero. I remember because like I really liked Barrage, and it sucked that it got canceled. See, talking about Saint Seiya. I don't know anything about Saint Seiya. Talking about more stuff about Mike Guy. Or Gray needed to get unlocked. All broken ice moves. He's gone. Just give him time. Ruby from Cinder from Ruby versus Elsie. I mean, Elsie should just drop Cherry on her. Let's see. I'm gonna scroll down. He has feet of Mach 7800. Who does? Gray is Fairy Tail Tien. No, he's not. Tien was fully forgotten about. The only thing that Tien really did in Z was when he did his Neo Tri-Beam Cannon on Cell. And even then, that didn't even make sense. And it didn't do damage. All it did was just annoy him. Gray's gotten stuff in 100 Years Quest. It's just been all character-driven stuff. Gray has gotten stuff with, like, Juvia and whatnot, which is obviously really big for him. He just hasn't gotten any new power-up stuff. But he's gonna soon. Remember when they had Green Lantern beat Ben Tennyson? I mean, Green Lanterns are OP. But they use like a super version of the Green Lantern. The Green Lanterns are actually really powerful. There was one comic I read. I'd have to go back and look exactly what it was. It had to do with them seeing like the creation of everything, and it has to do in the. I believe it's in DC. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's like at the very beginning there was just this hand. Let me see real quick. DC multiverse. Let me see what it's called. Multiverse hand. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I remember reading that. I think it was in the... I can't remember if it was in Blackest Night or what. It's been a long time since I've read those. I actually really like the Lanterns. And I liked... It makes me sad because I was going to be like... I don't want that to come off as biased because I did really like Ben 10, but then I remember the shitty reboot they did. Now I got mad. I can't believe they did that to Ben 10, man. I cannot believe they did that. Like, it looks horrible. It makes me so sad. Why did they do that? They gave it some shitty-ass, goofy cartoon, and then someone posted a picture comparing Ben 10,000 in the old style versus the new one, and it's just like a joke. Let me see what this guy's called. For some reason, my freaking Google Chrome isn't loading, so I'm just going to look it up on my phone. Let me see. Let me see. The Hands? No, that's not what it's called. I'm trying to remember. The Big Bang. I remember there's like a couple things. There we go. What is this thing called? There's like these guys, and at some point you just... Oh, it's Volthoom was there. It was oh crap. It was in the store with Volthoom, who was like one of the first Lantern, and he had all the primary colors, and he just looks transparent, and you see his veins, and then each of them are different colors. But they saw, like, the creation of everything, and there's, like, a hand with, like, the universe being formed within it. Man, I'm trying really hard to remember. It's been so long since I've read this. It's been a couple of years. Like, I tried to get really into comics for like a while because like when I grew up, I didn't really have anywhere to buy or read comics. So like I was trying to get caught up with a lot. Well, caught up. I was trying to read a bunch of the older stuff while I was well, I mean, as much as I really could while I was in school for the military, and then man, once I started getting to like the current stuff, current comics were kind of like super like you hit and miss. You either got something ass or you got something pretty good. People are talking about calculations. I'm gonna skip through that. Kaido is weak. Kaido is just, he's not weak, but he hasn't done anything that really like makes me hype. Think about like the first time Whitebeard really stepped up. We saw the clash with him and Shanks. We saw them splitting the sky, like the clouds in the sky from their clash. Once we showed up at Marineford, he's making tsunamis and shit. Like, Kaido hasn't really done anything like that made me hype about him. It's kind of like how I felt about Big Mom. There was nothing that kind of was like that same level of big deal presence outside of he's a dragon man who's, you know, spits elements. But it's like he doesn't really do a whole lot outside of that. It's kind of unfortunate. Let me get some more of these comments. If dude is 2 multipliers, you guys are talking about multipliers. I'm gonna skip through some of this. I don't really want to talk about a lot of fights. Kaido and Luffy are just clashing. Yeah, but Luffy's in base. Kaido is in hybrid form using advanced. Like, the only thing really Kaido could pull out that's still left is Awakening. Luffy hasn't even gone. Right now, Luffy's not using any of his gears. He's not using any of his gears right now. Think about that. Think about if Luffy was using second gear way faster, and he's just constantly bopping freaking Kaido with these advanced Conqueror's Hockey hits. Or goes into third gear and just hits him with a bigger one. Or goes into fourth gear and like either Snake Man or Bound Man. He's just completely bopping this dude around. I'm just trying to pop into more of these comments. If Mars shows up, what power would he get to match up with others? I don't see him getting True Magic or Ultimate Magic. I could see him getting True Magic. I don't really know, though. Otherwise, it's like maybe like he comes with like some crazy magic science tools or something. So obviously he's got to have something, but outside of those, like, what is he really gonna pull up with? Like, it's not like he has a lot of options available to him. But he still can arrive with, with some pretty important things. It's like, it's hard because, like, any of those things can really upgrade him. True Magic would be such a big boost for him. Because, like, imagine True Magic, Mineral Magic, and he's just making these walls of diamonds. Or, you know, he's got better healing. Ultimate Magic Mars would be terrifying for so many people if he's got both of those. Because he's already so powerful. Give him both of those, whatever the fuck Mineral Magic would do at an ultimate level would be insane. I would love that. One of the current My Hero scales up Prime All Might and scales to Prime All Might and Speed. Yeah. All Might being above Mach 7000. No, he's not. I don't really know about that. But I mean, like, even if you wanted to say, like, he was Mach 7000, I don't really know where you're getting that from. I'm guessing it's, like, the Prime All Might multiplier, which is still, I mean, I still think that's a valid thing. I don't know how many people would really kind of jump on board with that. I think that's kind of a valid one, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, he said it took him, was it 60 punches or 300? And usually it would take him 5 in Prime. So it's still like a big number, but I mean, that's, even if it was Mach 7000, that's not really going to do anything to Might Guy. I mean, like I said, he was messing people at light speed. Would you want to be a shown protagonist or an isekai protagonist? I would probably try to be, I think I'd rather be a shonen protagonist. I feel like an isekai protagonist, it would be like, I would already know, like, half of my story. I already know, like, I'm going to get reborn in another world. I'm going to get some really OP ability. Like, I think it'd be cooler to be in a shonen series. But I'm fine with either of them. I mean, maybe if I get to be in Isekai, I get a cheat power-up. I get a really unfair power, and I'd probably get a harem. Bankai or domain expansion? Oh, man. I'd probably go domain expansion. Some Bankais aren't as crazy as, like every domain expansion so far seems really good, and a domain expansion, like, by default boosts your abilities and stuff. And let me think, because like the thing is, like, if you fight somebody with your domain expansion and they have if they're able to overpower yours, you're kind of automatically fucked. Not automatically fucked, but you're like, the odds are very heavily against you at that point, you know? Rax, have you read the beginning after the end? Oh, I haven't. I might check it out. Even Kira can cut through anything, she can't cut through strength. I mean, her thing is, she didn't actually cut through strength, it was hypnosis. Wendy, man, I'm not going to jump on that one there, guy. Oh, I'm caught up. Sweet. Shinsu Bankai's still confusing me. It's like, the way that it works is like his Shikai is turning children's games into reality, but his Bankai is like turning a play into reality. His is weird. Can Dimension Slash destroy domain expansions? Yeah, because they're like it's a spatial technique, and you're using a spatial cutting ability. So it should cut through it, just by the way that it fundamentally works. It's kind of like with Satoru's Infinity, it works by spatial manipulation. So Dimension Slash should go right through it. I've argued with some people about that before, but it's like I don't really know what would stop him from doing that, because we know that the way that he uses stuff is by spatial manipulation. Visual Source ain't wait, what? I don't know what you guys are talking about right now. Seki's better. He's definitely not better in building magic. Ray can make an ice version of himself that actually looks like himself. Yami able to spend Death Thrust makes him the best hacks from all captains. Wait, what? I mean, Death Thrust isn't hacks. It's just a force cannon. I thought it was hacks for a while. Like, I remember I had a conversation with Josuke. I don't know if I just wasn't listening. I remember he explained it to me, and I was like, you know what, I think you're right. And then later, like, people argued against, it was Quan, and I think he reverse convinced me. It's just a concussive attack. It's not spatial hacks. It's just a big, raw pressure attack, essentially. It's kind of like, what's that attack Mike Guy has? Evening Elephant? Where he just punches, and it's like the raw shot, like, did you just see that big cone, or not cone, a big cylinder of raw force in just a direction. That's essentially what Death Thrust is. People are just talking about multipliers and Super Saiyan stuff. Aizen's true Bankai is Infinite Tsukiyomi. I assumed Aizen's Bankai would be kind of like, what's the guy's name? Was it Demon Spade? The guy from Hitman Reborn who had the ability to create, he had the ability to make illusions real. He can make an illusion of something and then make it real. Like, at one point he made an illusion of a missile and made the missile real. It instantly just formed into reality. It is a degree of reality manipulation. So I would assume that's what Aizen's Bankai was. Other than that, I don't really know what his would amount to. Just because, what else would it be? I mean, what else really would it be if it's like just not a higher level of illusion hypnosis stuff? I don't really know. Let me see. Oh, somebody added me on Twitter. What is this? What is this picture? My buddy posted. He's talking to somebody, and then the picture is like some guy doing a cartwheel with like half his ass out. Oh no, he's jumping into a pool. I was like, what's going on here? I was real confused. So I have a manga based around Three Kingdoms, Sengoku Jidai setting mixed with Chinese zodiac mythology. Would I be interested in it? I'd be interested in looking at kind of the concepts. I don't really read a lot of fan fiction, but like if you gave me like a TLDR summary, I would at least try to give feedback. I mean, I guess it's technically not a fan fiction. I don't want it to sound. I don't want to try and belittle your idea. It's your own creation. Like some of the guys I talk to, they also have their own ideas. I'm fine swapping ideas, but I don't know like how much I'm gonna read. Just because I imagine you probably have a ton, and I don't have a ton of time. Can't believe the guy on Twitter compared, domain expansion, Monozone? Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was so stupid. Well, the thing that was really annoying is he's, like, trying to say that, domain expansion, there's less people with it, blah, 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 or something makes it more rare, but there's one more person in Black Clover. I think someone brought up numbers. There's, like, 8 people currently with Monozone, and 7 people with domain expansion. But there's more than twice as many Black Clover chapters. So I don't really know where the guy was going with it. It's just another freaking Black Clover slanderer trying to fucking just be an asshole for clout. I mean, really, what else is it at this point? Like, they just want to be loud. What do you want for chapter 300? What chapter are we at right now? Well, what's the chapter number? Let me see. I actually forgot to do my my chapter prediction video, so unfortunately I don't remember. I think next chapter is 292, I think, right? I think the last one was 291. Let me see. Yeah, last chapter is 291. The next chapter, let me think. What exactly do I want to happen? Or sorry, chapter 300, not next chapter. Chapter 300, I kind of want another gate to open up, to be perfectly honest. I really would like something like that. Or maybe Mars shows up. Those are probably my two picks. Mars shows up, gate opens. Do I read manhwas? I haven't read any in a while. My problem I had with manhwas for a bit is, like, a lot of them, like, some of them are so slow paced, it's hard to get into. Giovanna claps Aizen and Zeref. What does he do? Oh, he just reversed up? I mean, Zeref stops time. GG. Good luck activating your stand when time stopped. Can he do that? And Zeref can also just put a flesh-eating virus directly in his brain. He can stop time, take his powers. I mean, you can just try and touch him, and he's going to radiate death on you. I don't really know what reversing on Zeref would really do. What's more dangerous, Demon Slayers or Jujutsu Kaisen? I mean, as far as we know, the freaking Demon Slayer stuff was constricted just to Japan, and then the way that the Jujutsu Kaisen world works is the curse is all over the world. It's mostly just Japan has like the sorcerers. They have the majority of sorcerers. So I would definitely go with Jujutsu Kaisen's world. And on top of that, you could just form curses. Like they can just spawn. They can just spawn out of nowhere. Whereas, you know, demons, they have to be, you know, made by another demon and whatnot. There's more of a system of making them that takes way longer. They're also easier to kill when you think about it. If you just, you know, if you just blow off their head, like say like you just hit one, like you got a sword, or you had the ability to cut them. Obviously, you have, you know, it's a lot more difficult than I make it out to be. But look at that versus the curses, where they don't actually, like, they're more powered off of their cursed energy rather than like physical flesh and whatnot. Zeref versus Orochimaru. Zeref would dominate Orochimaru. That's not even close. Zeref's too broken. Let me see. I don't know how powerful Omni-Man is at his peak. I don't really want spoilers, so I'm gonna skip that one. Not to beside your comment. Going off of the feats right now, I mean, his best feat was like cracking part of a mountain. He didn't even destroy it. So I want to say like it would have to be somebody below Wizard Saint level. I'm trying to think. The hard problem with that is, on top of it, he doesn't have any hacks. And he's not that fast in comparison. Like, at one point they were saying, like, one guy was going, like, Mach 3 or Mach 6. That's slow for Fairy Tail. So I don't think you'd actually get that far, to be perfectly honest. Like, anybody with hacks that is decently faster than him is just gonna get him. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream. It's been good. It's been about 2 hours. I appreciate everyone for showing up, and I hope you guys all have a really good night. Hopefully the chapter comes out. If the chapter drops sometime tonight, expect a review from me. Otherwise, tomorrow, I would assume. But outside of that, I appreciate everyone for showing up. Kenmano, thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate your input, as always. I always appreciate anybody who wants to be kind enough to donate to me. They're never required, but they're always appreciated, as I've mentioned many times. Anyway, other than that, though, I'll talk